亀山さんよろしいでしょうか。
よろしいですか。ちょっと日本のですね、同時に伺いたいのは、日本の、現在のそれでは、原子力安全文化を、エクセレンス水準でご覧になっていて、どのように評価されるのか、さらに改善の余地があるというふうに見ていらっしゃるところがあれば、それも含めて指摘していただきたいという、その点をもう一度お願いいたします。
Sorry, I forgot to answer that part of the question. We have spent a lot of time evaluating the Japanese nuclear safety culture and how whether or not there would be room for improvement. We think probably the one area that might be that I think will evolve is the relationship with the regulatory authority. So in the United States, it's been many years of U.S. nuclear utilities working with the nuclear reactor, the NRC in the United States, which is our regulatory authority. And we've developed a very strong relationship that is a two-way relationship between the utilities and the regulating authority. And that has resulted in some large benefits for all the utilities. It's a collaborative effort instead of a directing kind of culture with our nuclear regulatory authority. Now, of course, they tell us what to do because they have to tell us what to do. But we can also question and maybe come to some other more equitable agreements that's better for the utilities, but still meets the safety requirements and the requirements from the regulatory authority. So that would be the one area that I think is evolving in Japan with the NRA and their mission post Fukushima. It's very challenging for that organization because they're trying to institute very strong new safety regulations for the restart of the plants in the country. And so right now, I don't think there's a collaborative effort going on right now. I think that will evolve, though, over time, and the utilities will start to have a better relationship, I think, with the NRA.
このコラボレーションがですね、下手するとコルージョンになっちゃうんじゃないかと。つまりその癒着ですよね。そのかつては、そういう問題がある。ですからより独立した、レギュレーター、を作るとのレジームを作ると。共感はむしろそちらに日本の場合あったわけですよね。ですからそこでその一方的な指示をするというより共に作り上げていくんだと。概念的にはその通りだと思うんですけども、なかなかそこの線引きというか、あるいはその文化、コラボレーションの文化ってなかなか難しいと思うんですけれども、何かサジェッションございますか。さらに進化していく過程の中で。
That's a complicated question. Obviously, the regulatory authority's mission requires complete independence, but they may not. This is the U.S. point of view from the U.S. regulatory authority and the U.S. utilities. We find that sometimes the NRC, for example, has solutions to certain things that they want the utilities to implement, but they may not have necessarily the best solution. So that collaboration is around meeting the very specific requirements that the regulatory authority has issued, but maybe in a different way. And the utilities' experience, the utilities' operational capabilities are somewhat different than the regulatory authority. So it's that kind of collaboration. Now, the U.S. NRC also has benefited from their hiring strategy. Frankly, they have been hiring more experienced ex-utility people into their organization. So that has actually helped them see solutions in a different way. So I think they've gotten much better in that respect. But their collusion cannot happen. It has to be very independent.
ありがとうございました。それでは枝広委員お願いします。
はい、ありがとうございました。エクセロン社に実は 6つ質問があって、それからオーステッド社に3つ質問があるんですが、いっぺんに言っちゃっていいですか？はい、今日は長く時間を取っていただいてとても嬉しく思います。最初にエクセロン社に、6個質問があります。1つ目は今の船橋委員からの質問に重なるというか、それのフォローアップなんですが、安全文化というお話を最初にされた時に、人がとても大事だという話をされていました。で、今の船橋委員へのお答えは、ハード面とそれから規制の面からのお話があったと思うんですが、原子力は安全だと信じ込んでいるところから、今回の問題が起こって、福島の問題が起こったところがあるんですが、一人一人の意識を、働いている人一人一人の意識をどのように本当の意味での安全文化に保たれようとしているのか、そのあたりを補足をしていただきたいというのが1点目です。2つ目はですね、93% ほどの稼働率というのは本当に素晴らしいなと思うわけですが、日本の場合は原発は稼働率が高い、安定していると言われていますが、実際は非常に地震が多い国なので、平均すると原発の稼働率は、福島原発前でも 70% 台だったと思います。1924年の関東大震災以来、100人以上の犠牲者を出している地震が日本では15回起こっています。9年に1回ぐらい起きているという計算になります。そのように非常に地震の多い国でこの稼働率を考えるというのが、ちょっとそのアメリカとは違うのかなと思っているのですが、そのあたりをコメントいただければと思います。3番目は、核廃棄物の問題とそのコストをどのように経営の中に盛り込んでいらっしゃるのかを教えていただきたいということです。4点目は、御社の原発の稼働年数のデータを見せていただくと、一番新しいのでも稼働してから27年、一番古いので48年、だいたい30年から40年稼働してから経っているということを見せていただいています。日本だとその40年ルール、もしくは更新しても60年という寿命の関係があるので、御社の場合も最近新設をしていらっしゃらないということから、しばらくは今持っていらっしゃるのを使い続けるというビジネスモデルかと思いますが、その後どのように考えていらっしゃるかを教えていただきたいと思います。それからもう一つがですね、プレゼンテーションの中で何度も、Deregulated Market という、話がありました。そういうところでビジネスをされていると。そのディレギュレーションということから見て、日本の市場をどのようにご覧になっているかということを教えてください。それから最後はですね、例えばサイバーセキュリティなどの話で、ガスのパイプラインは危ないという話もありましたが、多分そのサイバーもしくは物理的な何らかの課題がセキュリティ上あった場合、原発の方が非常にダメージが大きい、及ぼす影響が大きいと思っています。そのあたりの、サイバーもしくはその他の、テロを含めですね、いろいろなものに対する、対策もしくはそのコスト、それをどのように見ていらっしゃるかを教えてください。たくさんですいません。それからオーステッド社に3つ質問があります。一つは日本の場合もぜひ洋上風力を進めていく必要があると思っているのですが、北欧と違って海がすぐに深くなるので、着床式、海底に足をつけてという風力発電が日本の場合どうしても難しく、浮体式の風力発電が必要になってきます。で、御社のその風力たくさんやっていらっしゃる中で、浮体式の実績もしくは技術開発をどのように進められているか教えていただければと思います。2点目は洋上風力、台湾でビジネスということなので、おそらく日本のあたりも調べていらっしゃると思いますが、洋上風力の日本での可能性をどのように見ていらっしゃるか。 そして3点目は、日本のマーケットに参入することを考える上での、参入障壁であるとか、例えばインセンティブがこういうふうにあるともっと日本でもビジネスできるんだけれど、もしそのようなことがあれば教えていただきたいと思います。たくさんですいません。
それではエクセル社の方からよろしくお願いします。
Okay, thank you, Professor here. Those are very good questions. I'll start with some of the. I think I'll handle most of these, and Mr. Gould can talk about the market deregulation. First, on individual worker safety issues, this is it's sort of the basic principle of the Exelon nuclear management model. Each individual worker in every utility, including the plants, including corporate office, every person is responsible for nuclear safety. So it's talked about every day, every morning at every morning meeting. It's in before every meeting we have a safety minute where we talk about safety. It's part of the process that we conduct in our business every day, every minute, all the time. And so each individual person, you can talk to a welder at a nuclear power plant, and he'll pull out his little safety card that he uses every day and everything he does, and he checks that before he does anything. And he'll talk to you about what he does and what he's personally responsible for in nuclear safety. They all know it, they all live it, and it's just part of the training, and you can't work at our company without being personally dedicated to it. The second question was on the earthquake situation in Japan. Obviously, Japan is unique in that regard. In the U.S., we've had some, for example, on the West Coast, Diablo Canyon was built on a very active fault region there, and they had to take very extensive precautions. So that plan is extremely robust relative to earthquake. But every one of our plants has to meet our regulatory requirements around the design basis accident in earthquakes. So it's a specific seismic movement requirement that we have to meet. The plant cannot be operated unless it meets all these criteria. After Fukushima, that was reevaluated. The NRC reevaluated that, and there was changes made. So some of the plants, luckily, most of the plants were well above that in their analysis because we're not Japan. We don't have so many active faults. But there were other plants where they had to spend a lot of money backfitting or making changes similar to what the plants are doing now in Japan to satisfy these more stringent requirements. So the only way I can answer that is from a capacity factor standpoint, once the plant is designed and all the maintenance activities and the operational activities are factored in, you should still be able to maintain very high capacity factors for that operation of that plant, regardless, as long as you have the safety factors already built into the system. So that's the way you accomplish that. Let's see. Nuclear waste. So primarily in the United States, the way, and specifically for Exelon, the way we handle the nuclear waste issue for our nuclear power plants is on-site storage. So every one of our plants has dry cask storage on-site that are on these pads, these concrete pads that are specifically designed to handle these large concrete storage containers that the nuclear waste is put into and sealed and monitored there for the life of the plant. And that eventually, obviously, there's going to be a need to put that somewhere. And I'd say eventually, 100 years from now, that kind of time frame. So the United States has to do something, and we're looking for our government to help us with that solution. Obviously, everyone knows about the Yucca Mountain situation, which is a very viable, in our opinion, solution. That is caught up in politics. So it's difficult for us right now. The country's also the U.S. country's looking at potentially privatizing long-term storage. So there are companies that I've been interfacing with that are looking at what they call interim storage facilities that could be either above ground or below ground for an interim, maybe in the 1,000-year kind of time frame. And the reason why the government is pushing that is because this way it privatizes that business, and the utilities would contract with those individual companies that are managing those facilities. However, there's still politics involved because those facilities have to be sited somewhere in some state, and then you have to deal with the political issues around that. Old plants. That's one of the reasons why we formed JEXL. Our fleet is, we have the oldest and the newest, as you said, in our fleet, but we've gone through the NRC process. The United States allows a 20-year extension to the 40-year license. So all of our fleet has been extended, other than the ones we're shutting down. Like the oldest, we are shutting that one down in 2019. But all of the ones that the rest of the fleet are being extended for the 20 years. And we're also piloting, with another utility in the United States, we're piloting our Peach Bottom facility, which is in Pennsylvania, 2-unit BWR, for another 20-year extension, so an 80-year life. And as most of you probably know, the 40-year life of a nuclear power plant was determined arbitrarily. It was a regulatory number. There was no basis for it. So what we've been doing, working with the regulatory authority, is trying to put concrete technical bases on how long a plant could possibly operate. Obviously, nuclear power plants are subjected to radiation, which eventually impacts concrete and other structures. So not all of those things can be changed or replaced. It's just then you're looking at a cost-benefit analysis that could be too expensive for a utility to do that. So therefore, it's more economical for them to shut the plant down. So those are the kinds of things we're doing on the age factor. But we believe strongly that 80-year life for at least the newer plants, and newer is 30 years or less kind of number. We believe they can operate for 80 years. Let's see. You want to handle
Yes.
deregulated?
I'll expand on our discussion of deregulated power markets. So by that I meant wholesale and at the wholesale and retail levels both, and I was specifically referring to power generation, power supply. So in the U.S., roughly a little bit less than half of the states are deregulated power supply, wholesale, retail choice, and the other half are still fully regulated. Our transmission and distribution systems, the delivery component, is still fully regulated. That's a monopoly business model, if you will. So, in the deregulated markets on the wholesale level, the objective and role, the price of electricity is set by a market price rather than administratively by a commission. And the role of the government there is largely to set the objectives, right, and make sure that the prices reflect those objectives, as I referred to in the discussion. So a good example of deregulated market-based solutions in the U.S. that go beyond the historical frame of cost, which is obviously where it all began from, there are two examples. In the energy market, we have renewable portfolio standards and what is called a REC, a renewable energy credit, that is a market-based premium rather than a feed-in tariff, as the example was given in Germany. It's a fluctuating price that is set based on the supply and demand of renewables like wind and solar to meet state-level requirements. So it's not a mandated price or administratively set. Another example more recently has been in the nuclear space. In Illinois and in New York, there is like a REC, REC, there is a ZEC, ZEC, zero emission credit, which is designed for the specific carbon-free zero emission attributes of all sources of energy. Again, these are energy market, and it's the same philosophy, but it also is inclusive. It's technology neutral and inclusive of nuclear. That has greatly increased through a wholesale market solution the competitiveness of nuclear. Another example is in the capacity market. So not all deregulated markets, but many of them have an energy market and a capacity market. Capacity market is there for the purpose of reliability, resiliency. We recently had a market price formation reform in the capacity market as well, related to firm fuel. So we had a weather event, I referenced it earlier, in a polar vortex, a very cold, brutal winter where natural gas supply was prioritized for home heating versus electricity production, and it caused shortages and complications within the electric system as a result. And so what we did was that we worked through our stakeholder process, all the utilities, to design, what are the attributes if you have firm fuel such as nuclear. You have fuel for 18 months. You don't have to worry about it, or even coal for that matter. If there's physical coal on the pile, there's a premium that should be associated with the deliverability of the fuel and the electricity. That's another market-based reform. That price isn't set, that price fluctuates with the need in the market. And then that's the wholesale side and how market-based solutions can be efficient towards that end. But there are many other attributes that need to be developed here. On the retail side, it's about customer choice of that supply. So in the wholesale market, these prices are laid out. Private developers come in and respond to those price signals and attributes. Then as a retail customer, so customer-centric approach, a customer then has the right in deregulated markets to purchase their choice of energy supply. And so if you're a customer who wants 100% renewable energy, well, you can go buy that if you want, and here's the price associated with it, and it will be delivered over the monopoly transmission system. If you don't want that, if you're more concerned with pure cost, well, you can buy that as well. So we find that retail access of the wholesale supply market is very enabling for customers to be fully engaged and drive from a bottoms up what sort of energy supply they want, as opposed to one that's administratively set. My understanding of my understanding of the Japanese process and where I would assess Japan in this is that you're at the beginning of the evaluation of deregulation and considering going down that path. So these are some of the attributes that I would recommend that you consider as you're thinking through that.
And just the last question you asked was on cybersecurity and physical threat to nuclear power plants and the countermeasures and costs associated with it. So built into our Exelon nuclear management model is our response actions and how we will take care of any kind of threat to the plants. So the cybersecurity is dealt with primarily through IT-based solutions. So everything in the plant runs on a network that can't communicate to anyone outside the plant, and that's just completely contained to within each of the nuclear plants. So they can't transmit any information from outside into the plant. It's completely. So that's an IT-based solution, but that's monitored, and we attack it as part of our testing periodically, the same way we do with physical threats. So each one of our nuclear power plants has an attack on the plant planned. It's literally an attack. Organizations are hired to plan and execute a covert attack on the plant to try to get into the plant and do something bad to it. So it tests each of the nuclear power plant's security's capability to respond to those attacks. And now we've incorporated these joint attacks where you have people trying to storm the plant to get into the control room or something, and at the same time you have someone in a van trying to attack it from a cybersecurity point of view. So sort of like a movie. I mean, we do this, and usually they're at night. So it's pretty interesting to witness one. But it's done at every one of our plants, and the NRC now does that. It requires that now from every nuclear utility in the United States, that they have to do these tests of your system to ensure response. Obviously, on the cybersecurity side, technology is changing and advancing so rapidly that we have an entire organization devoted to cyber threat. It's very obviously an important factor for nuclear power plants. So you have to have that commitment to be on top of the latest type of technology to fight it.
それじゃあオーステッド社お願いします。
Thank you for your questions. Probably I turn it around, start with the third question, and then do the second, and then the first one at the end. You asked what would encourage us to enter, or what are the obstacles to enter the Japanese market. I think it very much comes down to a clear regulation. At the moment you have a regulation in place for the port areas, which in per se allows for initial smaller projects. But what we are looking for is to really contribute to the energy infrastructure with large-scale wind power plants, and also scale, as I explained, is important to bring the cost down over time. So we want to engage, and we also want to do that with not only one or two projects, but if we enter a market, it's always with a long-term strategy. So we would then, as a second thing, besides a clear regulation for also the open sea area, which is very important, the second thing is that there's more visibility on the ambition Japan has in terms of building out offshore wind, meaning setting offshore wind targets by 2030. I think it is just a number, but it is a very important signal for an industry to develop and to build up. That brings me to your second question about potential. And I think that there's a lot of potential for offshore wind, bottom fixed, obviously then also floating. The question, how much can be bottom fixed, and how feasible or interesting are these projects? Can they be managed based on what they will produce and compared to the cost situation? I think there is a huge potential for bottom fixed projects still. If you then deduct all kind of factors like, as I said, shipping lanes, natural areas, fishermen rights or agreements, cable corridors, etc., etc. I think there's still room for probably 7-8 gigawatt by 2030 with feasible projects. And I think that is enough to build up a lively industry in Japan as well. As I said, roughly a gigawatt per year would be needed to create certain a critical mass of projects and competition, which then leads to cost reductions. I think that if you assume a timeline from 2024 on, where you can really have the first bigger wind farms, then there will probably be a gigawatt per year, which adds up to 7-8 by 2030. And then the question is, there is areas, but if you're too close to shore, it's true, then the mountains and everything will heavily impact the wind numbers, and that's still the most important thing for wind power. We need to be a bit further away from the shore to avoid like heavy wake loss impact. But there is areas which are very feasible. And in terms of floating, I think we are this is a new industry for Japan, a new market from our perspective, emerging. It is, in our experience, a good combination to start with something proven, where we have experience, which is reliable, and apply that into a new environment. That would mean that we start with bottom fixed, rather for the large-scale rollout, and then build up the industry, build up the maritime and offshore wind industry, the capabilities and knowledge, and then step by step, as you started now, from the port to certain bottom fixed projects in a third phase, then go into the wider floating offshore wind, which is certainly of great potential. But what we also have to say is that we have not seen the success story yet. There's certain demo projects, but even these demo projects, they are struggling with certain different challenges in terms of time, cost. And if you then want to scale it up to really a meaningful generation capacity, then it is about insurability, bankability, someone taking the overall engineering and construction risk, and that is something which we would at this stage not see as our first step. We would rather try to gain some experience building some traditional classic offshore wind first, and then learn about the market and maybe take the floating challenge as the next one.
ありがとうございます。それでは山崎委員お願いします。
はい、貴重なご知見をありがとうございました。船橋委員と枝広委員が、ほとんど質問を出されているんですけれども、エクソロンさんに、1点とでオーステートさんに1点追加でご質問させてください。でまずエクソロンさんですけれども、安全性とまた経済性、効率性を両立することができるということでおっしゃってくださっておりまして、でさらにその経済性を改善するためのオプションとして最後のプレゼンのページの中で、3つ挙げられていらっしゃいました。標準化と小型モジュール炉とまた運転期間の延長、パイロットプロジェクトとしては80年までということオプションとして書かれていらっしゃいます。でそのうちの小型モジュール炉と運転期間の延長についての質問なんですけれども、それぞれ不確定要素もあるかと思います。で特に運転期間も延長していきますと、団体施設が老朽化することによるメンテナンス費用の増大などのトレードオフも必要になってくるかと思います。でそれらを見越した上で将来的にはどちらに比重を置こうと考えていらっしゃるか、どちら01ではないかもしれないですけれども、どのような将来プランを考えていらっしゃるかをもう少し具体的に教えていただければと思います。でオーステートさんですけれども、先ほど日本でもポテンシャルがあるということをおっしゃっていただきました。でデンマークでは電力の割合として風力がだいたい 50% を占めているとも伺っていますが、それもヨーロッパの間での送電網がありまして、例えば電力の供給量の変動を時に輸出、時に輸入という形で吸収されていらっしゃるかと思います。で台湾についてお伺いしたいのですけれども、今後台湾におかれては、その電力の風力発電に対してどのような、これはそうですね、もう少しレギュレーション的になるのかもしれないですけれども、風力発電のこのプロジェクトを行うにあたって何か台湾においてそれを受け入れるためのルールの制度作りなどをされたのか、日本においてもそのあたりが参入にとっては大きな課題となるということでしたので、もし台湾の事例を教えていただければ幸いです。以上です。
ありがとうございます。じゃあエクセルン社の方からお願いします。
Yes, thank you, Yamazaki-san, for the question. It's the part of the financial evaluation for long-term operation. We call it LTO, long-term operation, so beyond 60 years. Is we have to include what might additional maintenance be required on the plants in those in that extended time frame. So that has to be factored in. You might need to do more inspections of certain welds. You might have to do more inspections or upgrade certain instrumentation and control systems that you didn't plan on doing before. So all of that has to be included in the valuation. So, but you are right. There will certainly be more inspections required to ensure safety.
あとその SMR スモールモジュールとこうバランスというかそういうプランはあるかということについてお願いします。
はい、ぜひお願いいたします。
So SMRs, we're a strong supporter of small modular reactor technology. In fact, I sit on a board for one company in the United States, NuScale, that's developing their own small modular reactor. We believe that the portability, the modularity, and the potential for reduced operating costs with a small modular reactor have potentially high impact and could be very marketable. For example, when you look at things I talked about earlier, for example, the securities required around a large nuclear power plant, with a small modular reactor, that's a much smaller footprint, less people, cheaper to run. So there could be synergies around that technology that make it financially viable. However, what we face in the United States, I touched on a little bit, the difficulty right now is our construction costs. So the reason why, one of the reasons that Exelon we were going to build a new reactor in Texas with Hitachi, and we decided to stop that. With two things happened: the price of natural gas dropped significantly in the United States, but also, this concept of being able to operate and maintain the plant cost effectively. So we're looking at SMRs. Our CEO is very positive on them. We'll have to see if the U.S. construction companies can figure out ways to construct new plants at lower costs.
はい、そうしますと運転延長をオプションとして検討しつつ小型モジュールと、両方のオプションを今、どちらかに絞るというのではなくて両方を持ち続けていくということでよろしいでしょうか。
That's correct. We do not currently have a plan to build an SMR, but we are closely monitoring it. We're very much involved in the various technologies and are supporting the development of SMR technology to the point where it looks like the company that I'm involved with, NuScale, is going to be building the first SMR in the United States at Idaho National Laboratory. So we'll watch that technology, and as it evolves, we'll see if it's as a potential viable option for us. But in the meantime, we're going to pursue long-term operation as well.
You asked for Taiwan. Let me give a very broad picture first. In Taiwan, it was recognized that something needs to be done, and then there was also just in terms of there's certain challenges, fundamental things which lead to the strong need of offshore wind. And that per se is a strong driver for also someone to enter the market and invest there. So first of all, there is no space. Then there is a strong public support for nuclear phase-out, which has then been written into law. At the same time, a lot of pollution in the central part of Taiwan. No strong wind in the Taiwan Strait, and in general, a clear regulatory framework in place with a few white spots, which when we started to work there could be arranged in a relatively short time. For example, the shipping lanes were not clearly defined, that had to be discussed, but was solved in a relatively short period of time. And that all in all leads to the fact that it was for us, independently from a feed-in tariff or from a regulatory framework, there was a clear storyline that offshore wind is a must. Also the PV, the room to build onshore wind or photovoltaics was just very limited, and renewable energy was needed. So this is a strong driver in general. And the last point is, of course, that also Taiwan has a strong dependence on fossil fuel imports, which is also high above 90%. So I see in general then also a lot of parallel challenges when it comes to Japan, and that's why I also think that the fundamental need and is here also very much there, and it's very strong. It's a very strong let's say there's a very strong motivation for Japan to build offshore wind. I think that is, if I say a bit about the history, when we came to Asia, firstly to really explore the markets, we actually spent more time in Japan than in Taiwan, because we see, of course, the potential here, or also the need, being such a huge country and with so much coastline, similar maybe to the UK. We have really perceived that as a very interesting future market, which would then also provide a long-term sustainable growth of renewable energy. But it was really the Taiwanese regulatory framework, especially on the permitting side, making clear which ministry is in charge to give the permits, which kind of milestone has to be fulfilled step by step, which was clearly described. Not perfectly, some things had to be solved while we were walking, but in general a clear framework we could follow in order to make this long-term development work. So that has then turned it around a bit, and then we started to spend more time in Taiwan, but we can really see the potential here, and it takes a bit time still, but I think it should start very soon.
はい、どうもありがとうございました。
それでは中西委員お願いします。
今日どうもありがとうございました。特にエクセロンさんには私どもとのパートナーシップまでいろいろと研究していただきまして、今までのご質問とかなり直接関係するんですけども、今日リコメンドされたいくつかのプライスフォーメーションというか、この動きっていうのはアメリカの中ではほぼ期待できないんではないかというふうに私は思っていますけれども、それとその新設にかかるコストとのバランスっていうのは結構難しいところに来てると思いますが、その辺今のエネルギーのデマンドの増加からすると当面そういう決断というのがすぐされる可能性あるのかないのか、あるいは今のアメリカの政府のエネルギー政策の中でそういうプライスフォーメーションの動きが明確に出てくる可能性あるのかどうか、その辺をどうご覧になっておられるかお聞かせいただきたいというのがエクセレンさんに対するご質問と、それからオーステンさんにはですね、今のお話ともちょっと関係するんですけど、グリッドのコネクションっていうことを考えていくと、特に台湾の場合は台湾電力と御社との間の関係っていうのはどういうフォーメーションを今現にできててどう発展させようとされているのかって、その辺が教えていただきたいと思います。
じゃあエクセレンシャンコからお願いします。
Thank you for the question. So price formation, your question is at the U.S. at the federal level relative to the states. I gave some examples of where states have taken some actions, the zero emission credit and capacity. Both of those have effective price formations have had the impact of improving the economics of existing nuclear plants in those states because it recognizes those attributes. So on a state level, there's progress, and we believe there's much more progress to be made. But it is very local. It really depends, on the state and what the needs and desires of that individual state is. Your question around, the larger United States, I mentioned the political appetite for a price on carbon is not there. So I don't believe that there's any in the near term or medium term path towards carbon being priced. However, with the new administration, the Department of Energy has recently commissioned a study that we have responded to actively, along with many other utilities, on that includes the opportunity to talk about price formation on a national level. So that is very recent. That is happening real time now. So in that, we talk actively about the need to recognize these attributes, and is particularly focused on baseload power, of which obviously nuclear plays a big role. So it's very difficult to assess the likelihood of that, but I can report that the activity is underway, that there is a formal process underway by which industry can respond with their thoughts and suggestions to the federal level. Thank you.
In Taiwan, Taipower is the only utility that is easier in that sense. The challenge in Japan is bigger with different regional utilities, definitely. But in terms of working with Taipower, we have different areas where we are collaborating. Of course, the first thing is what is written into the law and the Renewable Energy Act. That's about getting grid connected. So for our projects, we have to sign a PPA with Taipower. We have done that for the first 2 turbines, and we're just doing that for the second phase of the demo project, where we have a joint venture with a local developer. And we will also do that for our bigger projects. The process is that we have to complete the EIA, environmental impact analysis, which has been done now. We have then to obtain an establishment permit as an energy producer, so to say, and then based on that we can sign the PPA, and so to say Taipower is then the off-taker, and that's an interface where we build the whole scope of the wind farm. We build the turbines, the cables, bring them together, an offshore substation, then we bring the cable to the land, build an onshore substation, and then we bring the cable from the onshore substation and plug into Taipower's onshore substation. So that is the first interface and collaboration. We also Taipower and ourselves, we worked on the system impact analysis, how the offshore wind farms would impact the whole system. And that was a very strong and very positive collaboration. But there's also other areas where we collaborate. Of course, we have some knowledge to bring to Taiwan based on the transition process we went through as a state-owned company. Some of the challenges are similar for Taipower, so there's some kind of more strategic dialogue. In general, I must say that Taipower is adapting relatively fast to the changing environment. Of course, it is a big challenge for Taiwan to bring in a higher amount of renewables, and so far not so much renewable energy is there. It's in the range of like 2 or 3% with onshore and some photovoltaic. So they also grow with the challenges, and they have come up with a very ambitious grid build-out plan. So some grid is available for offshore wind and will already be freed up. And then there is a clear plan by 2025 where they will strengthen the grid in order to cope with the increasing amount of offshore wind coming in. So all in all, a very good collaboration.
ありがとうございます。それでは飯島委員お願いします。
はい、エクセレンシャの皆さん、オーステートの皆さん、詳細な説明ありがとうございます。
私からはですね、4つほどご質問させていただきたいと思います。まず1つ目は、事業ポートフォリオの視点からの質問。2つ目は、これはもう皆さんからご意見出てるんですけれども、今後の原発の取り扱いについて、3つ目はですね、ゼロエミッションをめがけたですね、広域連携について、それから4つ目はイノベーション、技術革新についてご質問したいと思います。まず1つ目ですけど、私ども三井物産もですね、ガス発電、石炭火力発電、および風力や太陽光等々を含めてですね、原発を除いたすべてのですね、発電事業、IPP 事業をですね、国内外で展開をして、現在10ギガワットぐらいの私ども単体のですね、発電能力を有しております。現在ですね、パリ協定 COP21 をベースとしたですね、やはりカーボンエミッションに視点を置いたベストのですね、事業ポートフォリオを考えているところでですね、両社の皆さんはですね、中長期的な視点からですね、もういち早くですね、エクソン社は原発に選択と集中された、オーステッツ社は洋上風力といったようなところでですね、事業ポートフォリオを決められたという、その視点で言えばですね、やはり両社ともですね、民間会社という視点ではですね、国連の SDGs との達成やですね、また ESG のですね、投資っていう機関投資家の要請にはですね、十分沿っていると思うんですけれども、もう一方でですね、資本市場の強い要請、株主、いろんなステークホルダーがいる中で、株主の要請、要するにやはり、他にもう少し安価なですね、発電源があるだろうといった中でですね、中長期を持った株主さんも機関投資家もいらっしゃるんだろうけれども、まず、そうした意味では短期的に株主さんへの、株主還元への増加、要するに企業価値を増やして、その中でどう成長しながらですね、株主還元を増やしていくかという要請も強いと思うんですね。この辺でそういった株主さんとの折り合いをどうつけられているのか、またつけられたのかという視点で一つお聞きしたいと。また2つ目はですね、原発、これはもう皆さんからご意見が出てるんですけれども、原発建設コストが上がっている。同時に日本においてはですね、建設コストの上昇と同時にですね、安全対策に莫大なお金がかかっていると。そうすると、原発の耐用年数40年だ。日本の場合60年、アメリカの場合は80年といったようなことがあるんですけれども、今現在、天然ガスと他の発電源が安価であるという中でですね、原発を今後もですね、2040年、50年にわたってですね、中長期的な視点でですね、やはりベース労働電源として、S というものを安全性をどう維持していくかを別とすればですね、3、経済性、それからエネルギーの供給の安定性、および環境という問題を考えたら、原発というのは、これからも私はベース労働電源として重要な役割を果たすと。そうすると、相対的なコストが今上がっていく中で、先ほどエクソン社の方がおっしゃいましたように、ZEC とか、そういったような国や自治体の支援とか、それ以外に稼働日数とか、設備の使用率とか、いったようないろいろな要素でですね、コスト競争力を下げていく要請があるんですけども、先ほど原発としての属性がまだマーケットで評価されてないんだといった中で、それ以外にですね、何か取り組んでいく必要性、さらには政府やさらにもっと他にですね、絶句に変わるようなもっと支援策が必要なのかどうか、その辺の見解をお聞きしたいという。それから、広域連携の話なんですけども、ワールドエネルギーフューチャーを見てみます、アウトビューを見てみると、ルックを見てみるとですね、やはり2040年もこれからもエネルギー需要は増加すると。その中で化石燃料の位置づけっていうのはかなりの位置を依然として占めていると。そうした中でもう一方、国際金融機関を見ますとですね、石炭火力発電に対するファイナンスが厳しくなっていると。同時にフランスのエンジーやオーステッド社のようにですね、石炭火力発電からもう撤退するんだということで、進めている企業も多いです。その中でヨーロッパの各国のですね、発電源を構成を見てみるとですね、皆さん2050年にはですね、CO2 の排出量を 80% に抑えると、以下に抑えるという、以上に抑えるですね、に抑えるといったような動きが出ている中で、本当にそこをやるためにはですね、広域連携が必要じゃないのかと。特にヨーロッパの場合はもう歴史的に欧州石炭鉄鋼共同体というのがあるんで、
そういったような地盤があるんで、実は各国 80% 削減しますよと、相当のリニューアブルを増やさなきゃいけないんですけれども、石炭火力を持ちながら広域連携の中で 80% 削減を達成しようとしているのか、その辺の見解をお聞きしたいと。それから石炭火力についてはですね、技術革新も相当進んでいくんではないかと。 CCS 並びに IGCC の発電、石炭火力発電およびですね、石炭火力発電に伴う水素の製造、運搬等々のですね、やはり2050年を描けたときにですね、そういった分野の技術革新についてはどう見ておられるのかお聞きできればと思っています。私が以上です。
はい、ありがとうございます。おそらく今の飯島の1番目の質問は両社2つの会社にお聞きしたいということだと思います。2番目は特にエクセル御社の方にお聞きして、おそらく3番目の広域連携は主にオステッド社の方にということだと思います。それからイノベーションのことについては石炭火力の今のご質問でしたけども、それも含めて少しどういった方向でお考えなのかということをお聞かせ願えればと思います。じゃあまずエクセル御社の方からお願いします。
Yes, thank you. These are great questions. So your first question and the second are very related. And I will try to address them both in the same context. So your point that there are many stakeholders involved in this, and the shareholder being a very important one, that we certainly share that view. And so when you think about technology innovation, and you think of I think of the question you're asking in both a historical context for Exelon, which is how we got to where we are with the nuclear fleet that we have, differently than I think about the value proposition historically versus the value proposition going forward. Value meaning shareholder value specifically, all in the context of optimizing around societal goals around emissions. So understanding the trade-offs that you are referencing. So as my colleague Mr. Hunter referenced, historically the value proposition for Exelon was the nation's underperforming nuclear assets performing at low capacity factors and high cost. And the opportunity there to where we got to today was to drive a business model around economy of scale and operational excellence, very much like is being talked about in wind today in clusters. The same sort of mentality and a business approach around nuclear was to create economies of scale, supply chain, and operational efficiencies that can be shared across a fleet. That resulted in significant shareholder value for the company. The acquisition of those underperforming assets and improving their performance. We were not, but for the partnership that we had begun with Hitachi, which we no longer have the project because of the drop in power prices. None of our historical value was from the new build of assets, of nuclear assets. It was all from improving the performance. So that's where the shareholder value came from. Now that's historical. Shareholder value going forward. The investments that we've made in power generation have been in natural gas combined cycles. So we've built recently two new natural gas combined cycles in Texas they've just recently come online the last month or two. We are roughly about a top 10 wind developer inside the United States, and solar as well. So our investments have been going forward on where shareholder value can be delivered. And as our colleagues have said, we see the same prices for purchase power agreements in wind and sun-rich areas of the United States where they can be competitive with conventional generation like gas and like gas, mostly without subsidies. And that's not generic across the entire United States. It really matters where you're talking about. It's very locational specific. So you notice that I did not mention new nuclear as, where we are, where we see shareholder value today, because as Mr. Hunter said, the construction costs simply don't support. Now, the combination of the cost reductions that may occur, but back to the point around price formation, I think a couple attributes we've talked about today that you've well summarized. So if it's emissions, there's emissions, there's reliability, and then there's resilience. And resilience is the emerging one that we're having discussions about today as a country. This is what I referenced in terms of the Department of Energy's very recent baseload energy request for comments from industry. So ZECs I've mentioned in terms of emissions are only 2 states, very recent development. What would help change that equation is something I've already said it was very challenging for the United States. The adoption of a ZEC in all the states or a federally adopted price on carbon. That would change the equation dramatically for nuclear new build, as it would renewables and gas to some extent relative to conventional coal. Reliability, I mentioned in many of our markets, there's an energy market and a capacity market. Capacity market is specifically designed to address system reliability. So is there enough supply? Is there enough supply, or the right signals being sent to private developers to go build? Again, there has been significant movement in the stakeholder process for an attribute around firm fuel. So the deliverability of fuel is part of reliability, and that reliability is now being priced in the capacity market in some of the markets that we operate. Some markets, deregulated markets, don't even have capacity market, like Texas. It's an energy-only market. So it's very patchwork. It's very difficult to generalize, but certainly a broader adoption of that distinctive attribute across the United States would help, again, both, particularly for nuclear, and you mentioned coal. If there are clean coal technologies, coal also would participate in that because it would have the fuel on site. And then resilience, the high impact, low likelihood events, that is the emerging, the cybersecurity and things of that nature. That is where this design basis, what we're recommending is that our states and our federal government, our national labs, collaborate on collecting the right data and analyzing the vulnerabilities of our system such that we can inform and educate ourselves around those, not reliability, but resilience against those extreme events, what they are, where are the vulnerabilities, what are the economics of those vulnerabilities, and therefore how can we have price formation reflect in a technology neutral way each of their contributions. Renewables, nuclear, gas, all would have different contributions in that. But that is very, very early. That is what I referenced is a very early development, but we are encouraged. We are very encouraged by all of those developments, but it is still early.
ありがとうございます。じゃあ、オステス社お願いします。
Yeah, absolutely. It is, I think, independently from, we have challenges when we talk about offshore wind. We always asked about typhoons and earthquakes and wind and waves and infrastructure, supply chain readiness. But I think the biggest challenge can be the management of the stakeholders. Many different stakeholders, local stakeholders, explaining it, approvals, permits, and so on. That's definitely the point which is always probably the risk which can be least controlled and highest on the agenda. If it then comes to the shareholders per se, we have not yet experienced this kind of challenges. We just went to the stock markets last year, so we are still under kind of a protected treatment maybe. But I think everybody who invests in our company, in our business, must know that, I mean, we basically cannot react overnight to certain quarterly requests. It's a long-term business with stable revenue streams, and then we from time to time have a divestment. But in general, it is not so easy to balance it out on a quarterly base, and that wouldn't work even if we tried. So we don't even try then. But in terms of I think future activities, I think that's what investors and shareholders would ask for. I think we are very much expanding. So the international expansion per se is something which creates a lot of attention. The activities we have now started in Asia Pacific or in North America contribute to that. So staying in the wind area, but expanding our market presence and our footprint has been recognized in a very positive way. But also in terms of bringing new technology, you asked, I cannot comment on clean coal and so on. We're not going to engage in that. We think that in general it's a good idea to phase out coal. But what I can say is that we are very engaged in new technologies like waste to energy, and it's not just that we're trying things out, bioenergy, waste to energy. There's different technologies we are applying, and we have the first commercially operating waste to energy plant in the UK now. So it's a growing activity. And what we have also done is we have brought up a new storage unit in our company, so that we had in the past, but now we have set it up again in a different way. And we have integrated a first storage solution in one of our wind farms in the UK. So I think we are preparing for future requirements also from stakeholders when we have more renewable energy in the system. In certain markets, we also develop very market-specific solutions. For example, in Germany on demand response management, which very much react to what the different markets allow. Where you have a well-working electricity market where you can buy and sell power, then that is of course a very good option. Yeah, that's what I can say to that. I think in general there is a growing consciousness that renewable energy imposes more challenges to the balancing of a system, and there's different players, including the renewable energy companies, but also the TSOs and the local and central governments who need to work out this kind of system. In Taiwan, it's an island, so we are facing challenges in a different way compared to Germany, where sometimes the redundant green energy goes somewhere. In Taiwan, that's not possible. So, but we're working very well with the different think tanks there to kind of address these questions. Thank you.
ちょっと時間をしてますけど、坂根議員、ご質問をお願いいたします。
皆さん聞きたいことをほとんど聞かれたんで、無理やり質問するような感じなんですが、お二人に一問ずつ。まずエクセロン社に対してですけども、私の理解では2019年に原発を閉鎖するという発表がオイスタークリークとスリーマイアイランド が発表されていると思うんですが、これは古いということと1基のみ存在しているというそういう特殊要因なのか、あるいは地域的な問題なのか、古くて1基ということになると、そのうちフィッツパトリックも1基だけしかないというふうに聞いてますけども、この1基こういった部分で限定的に閉鎖がもう可能性があるだけで、他は60年80年と使っていくと、あるいは新増設っていうのもその既存のこの部分においても可能性があるのかどうなのか、これをお聞きしたいと思います。からオースティス社の方にはこれ突飛な質問ですが、日本は台風で悩まされて、台風っていうのは洋上風力にとっては今は非常にネガティブな要素だと思うんですが、将来こういうその台風みたいなエネルギーを風力発電っていうのは蓄電池の技術、その他いろんな技術進歩でエネルギーを吸収していくっていうか活用していくという可能性っていうのはあるんでしょうか。
それではエクセレンシャオースティス社の順でお願いします。
Thank you for the question. Oyster Creek is a one-unit, our oldest and single-unit plant in New Jersey that we are going to close in 2019 for financial reasons around the cost of operating. Because it's very old, there's just too much maintenance costs associated with running that for another 20 or 30 years. So we decided we needed to close that. TMI is a different situation. So TMI is a one-unit site now because of the other one went through the accident in '79. But we have announced that we would close TMI only if we did not have some sort of market reform in the state of Pennsylvania where that reactor is formed, based on the price of electricity in the area in the market that plant serves, which is extremely low, and it's not rewarded for all the things that Mr. Gould talked about, resiliency and reliability. So that's a different situation than Oyster Creek. Oyster Creek is being shut for just cost of maintaining a very, very old plant, but TMI is a market and economic decision. On the question on building a new plant on older sites, absolutely. So we have two sites under decommissioning right now. One, for example, is going to be turned into a greenfield site in just short of the border of Wisconsin. But the plan for that is, should in the future it becomes economically feasible, whether it's an SMR or a large plant, we could potentially reuse those locations because we own the sites. So that's always something that can be done.
First of all, I think we are not concerned about the typhoons per se. It is big, like now it's gone, but the turbines, it's big, like big buildings. They need to be designed and constructed like any big building which is going to be erected somewhere in the world, and need to withstand also strong and peak wind speeds. And we have a lot of confidence that they do that. And we had, with the first turbines in Taiwan now being exposed to typhoons, also no problems. But of course, it is a challenge from an engineering point of view, but it basically means strengthening the substructures and strengthening the technology and adapting some of the technology to peak wind speeds and certify it accordingly. Many of the technologies are already made for that. In the North Sea, it is not so much the wind speeds, it is the wave heights which put a lot of pressure on the structures. And the wave heights during typhoons in Japan or Taiwan, they are comparable to the wave heights we experience in some of the northern winter storms. Of course, the frequency is different, so we need to design against that. But in general, we are not. We have respect of the typhoons, but we are not concerned. We can probably not yet harvest these high wind speeds and store them, because what is happening now is if we exceed a certain wind speed, we switch off the turbines in order to make sure that they are not being damaged. That is for risk management, safety reasons, and in the future, probably they will be able to deal with higher wind speed and higher. And what is possible, of course, and what we do already is we build in storage solutions. Now, in the first UK project, we have done that into the wind farm in order to store some of the wind when it's very high and maybe not needed, and then pull it out when we need it for like low wind phases. So that is at the moment the situation. No concerns, but we also cannot make best use of this strong wind, because then it's very strong. So then we're more on the safety side. Was that the question, or yes? Just this one, right? Oh.
ありがとうございました。いいですか。
今日はありがとうございます。エネルギー戦略というものはエネルギー庁は毎年検討しているわけではなくて、おそらく3年に1回あるいは5年に1回検討するというプランになります。でおそらく3年前5年前ならば、今日ゲストにお呼びしたエクセレン社、それからオーステッド社をお招きをしてお話を聞くということがおそらくなかったんじゃないかと私は思います。それほどエネルギーの世界はビジネスのモデルもテクノロジーも、それから行政に対する要請も劇的に変わりつつあると私はこの2時間半で感じました。今日はエクセレンス社、それからオーステッド社から市場設計や行政が出すべきメッセージについてのいくつかのご提案をいただきました。でこうしたご提案を行政サイドがどう受け止めるかっていう議論はここのラウンドテーブルのメンバーの方々のご提案をいただきながら、我々はできれば来年の春ぐらいまでにはまとめていきたいなと思っております。でもやはりエネルギーの世界は新しいハードルがあれば技術がそれを乗り越えて新しいビジネスが生まれ、行政が変わっていくことで新しい未来が開けると感じた次第であります。今日は本当に感謝申し上げます。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。ちょうど時間なので今日2つの会社、エクセルン社とオーステル社の方に本当に有意義なプレゼンテーションをしていただきました。最後に拍手でお送りしたいと思います。それでは今日はここで締めさせていただきます。次回は1月のタイミングで開催をしようと思います。次回も海外企業の戦略というものについてのヒアリングをしたいと思います。先ほど申し上げましたが、NG 社、EDF 社、エネル社等からのヒアリングということを予定しています。また正式な日程は改めてお知らせしたいと思います。本日はどうもありがとうございます。